What's up, guys? So first off, this is going to be a really long vlog kind of video. Um, and I want to talk about two things in this video. The first thing is that I'm going to try and raise some money to upgrade some of my hardware and other things to help me start streaming later on in the year. So if you'd like to see me start streaming, which I think I would do a good job streaming, and I would love to do it as well. Yeah, so if you want to see me start streaming, you enjoy my content, you like the videos I make, and you want to support me, then check the chip in link below. If you have a spare few bucks, you can donate to me there, and yeah, that would really help me out. And the second thing is I want to sort of round up 2011 a little bit and 2012, and sort of just tell a little esports story that I had happen to me. So yeah, so iSeries is a LAN in the UK where thousands of different gamers go 3 times a year, and there's loads of different tournaments. They have tournaments like Counter-Strike, StarCraft, things like that. It's really, really popular. Like, you guys should really know know what iSeries is by now. So in 2011, I started playing League of Legends about 3 months before August. Like, seriously, I just decided to start playing a bit more seriously and get a bit more competitive. It all kind of started when I met these guys on this TeamSpeak or Mumble or whatever that I played on, where we would play another game called Darkfall together, and I'd known them for a long time, and I started playing League of Legends with them. So we found out in August, a couple months before August 2011, that there was going to be a tournament in near Birmingham in a town called Telford. Basically, that was the first iSeries, and it was called I-43. And it had a League of Legends tournament there. I'm not sure how much money it was, but the money wasn't the big part of it. It wasn't important. The main reason why we wanted to go there was because of WCG, and I have to say, I'm really disappointed that WCG isn't on anymore, because I really liked the idea of what WCG was, and it would have been nice to try and compete against the other UK players to try and get into a team, for WCG. So there was WCG at I-43, and this was planned for August 2011. So the months prior to this, we had a little team, and we were planning to go to this event. So we went to this event eventually, and so some of you guys might know I had Knucklehead and Sorg with me, who were there. I went with them that first time, and this was over a year ago now, obviously, since it's been August in 2012 already. So it was Knucklehead and Sorg were there with me, and this was my first LAN event thing that I ever went to, and my first time playing League of Legends in some kind of tournament. And I met Knucklehead and Sorg there, and I met two other guys who played in our team, called Dave and Vodrin. They're not really important. They go away pretty quickly in the story. So I met them outside of the iSeries building, which was the International Centre in Telford. It's like a massive conference centre, international centre, where loads of people go, and they managed to hook up massive fast broadband to it. And it was the first LAN there in that venue, and it was the summer LAN. I-43 Summerland, so it was a massive LAN. I think over 2,000 people went, so it was pretty amazing for me, my first time going there. And if any of you guys ever get an opportunity to go to an iSeries, I suggest you go to it, because it was amazing. It was some of the best fun related to gaming I've ever had, so yeah. So I met them. It was a little bit awkward meeting them, just as it was, but it wasn't too bad. Then I settled down with them after an hour or so of meeting with them, and everything was good. So we practiced. We got there on the Thursday. Then on the Friday, the first sort of tournaments came around, I think. And we played against a couple of UK teams that weren't very good, and we beat them. And then we eventually got to Lowland Lions. And these guys, they play a part in the story later on. They were a Dutch team, and they had some famous players you guys might know now, called Tabs. It's such a long time ago, it's hard for me to remember who else was there. Tabs, Alibaba, and a few other Dutch players in that Lowland Lions team. So we met them, and we had actually, I think we just got stomped. We just got owned. We just got completely owned because they were really good and they had Tabs and stuff, and he was just epic then. And eventually Tabs ended up leaving that team a couple weeks after anyway, Lowland Lines. I forgot what team he went to form, but he went and joined a new team anyway. So after that, we lost to Lowland Lines, and it was a double elimination bracket. So we lost Lowland Lines and went down to the second thingy, the losers bracket. So I think we beat another team, and then we went to face against Sloth, which is Plasma's team. And some of you guys will also know Plasma. There's people in this story that will, like, some of my subscribers will know, and some of you guys won't. So if you have any questions on who these people are that I talk about, they're not all complete random no-name scrubs. A lot of them are fairly well known and stuff. So Plasma was in Sloth, and that was like the second one of the UK teams that we sort of knew of already, and we were kind of afraid of. And there was only 2 other UK teams at that time, at I-43. So there was 4 UK teams that that were like slightly on the same level. It was One Night Only, which had Snoopy in it. It had Snoopy, Abhorsen, Akamez, and Aki Lord, which were 2 guys from WinFact. And obviously Snoopy is in CLGU, or whatever they're called now. And then there was Rageface, which had Caution in it, Terror on You, and a couple of other random guys. Tempestra and a couple of other random guys. And then Sloth, which had Plasma, Lekagano, a couple of other random guys that none of you will even know. And then there was Lyandry, which was my team with Sorg and Knucklehead. But in reality, the way the sort of level that we were on at that point, we weren't ever good enough to win it. Now that I look back at it, Rageface was so much better than us. One Night Only, of course, they had Snooper. He was like 2300 elo back then. So yeah, that was how good Snooper was right then. He was like such a beast, and he played like Jack's top and stuff like that. Unfortunately, though, Snooper's team didn't end up winning. We lost to Sloth. I ended up playing Garen top against Plasma playing Urgot top, and around that time I was like 1700. This was in season 1, so that's how long ago this was. This story goes. This was in season 1, so I was playing Garen top, and I would buy a Doran's Blade first item. I mean, that's how stupid it was that you could get to 1700 elo playing Garen top with Doran's Blade first time. And what I would do generally is I would buy 3 Doran's Blades and then get a Sunfire Cape or like a Force of Nature as well, and stuff like that, and it would just be silly. But Garen back then, you could really kill people on level 2 and like level 3 and stuff, and you could, I don't know, around that point people started picking him up and playing him a lot. So yeah, he was really strong. But I ended up getting owned by Plasma because he was like 1900, almost 2k, and he was really good at Urgot. And we didn't ban the only 2 champions he could play back then, which was Urgot and Jarvan. And if we had banned those 2 champions, I'm sure we would have had a better chance at beating them. And we almost beat Sloth, but eventually we lost to them. So we were out of the tournament then at I-43. And it was a bit of a bummer because we thought we were the best UK team, and it turns out there were 3 other UK teams that were better than us at the time. So it was a little bit sucky. Basically, what would have happened was if we would have won, we would have gotten free tickets to was it in Korea? South Korea it was, I think. And we would have gone to South Korea and Poland all for free, paid for by Riot and World Cyber Games. But Caution's team ended up going to that, and Caution and that team play a part later on as well. So we didn't get to go to Korea, and they did. That kind of sucks. I'm really disappointed about that because, whatever. Anyway, so after that, our little team that we went to I-43 with kind of disbanded, and time passed, basically. Some time passed for me. I got to like 2200 elo, and I was in the top 300, and now we're entering the stage where I've had the most sort of success in my esports career or whatever. I got into like the top 2200, and I was playing top 300. And I was at 2200, and this was basically at the start of season 2, and I was quite high elo for a while, and I was playing with a lot of good players, and I played with Froggen and Solar Q, all those guys and stuff. I mean, I don't really play much Solar Q anymore the last couple of weeks, but regardless, getting off track anyway. So I played Solar Q for a bit, and I got into a team called Ramos, what boots do we buy, or something like that. So, most of you would have not have heard of it. But we had this guy called Zombie Lau, this guy who was I forgot where he was from, some Eastern European country, and we had this guy called Lucky who played support with me, and we we he was German. We played against a bunch of good teams. We placed like in the top 10 in a lot of Go for Lols back then, and that was when the Go for Lols, yeah, all the pro players played in the Go for Lols back then, which seems crazy now. Like you think a pro player would pro team or whatever would give the time of day to play in a Go for Lol now? No way. Why would they even bother? It's 100, 200 euros for like 7 hours or something like that. So back then, the pro players and the pro teams were playing a Go for Lols all the time, basically almost every week. They're playing in it for a lot of practice and things like that. And this was early 2011, if I'm not this was early season 2, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't too far into season 2. But yeah, so after that, we played in some online tourneys. 3D Max, if anyone remembers that team, leave a comment. 3D Max with Puzu and Joe Licious and some others like that. If you remember 3D Max, leave a comment, because that'd be funny. But we played in some Go for Lols and things like that, and did all that stuff. And then eventually I got asked to join this team called Four Kings. And I went into a team speak with Caution, and then I spoke to him for a bit, and he was saying how, yeah, you'd be contracted, we'd be going to iSeries and stuff. And then Jason, the manager of Four Kings, came in and started speaking to me, and he was saying things how, oh, we have a potential graphics card sponsor coming up and things like that, and you might be able to get graphics cards and blah, blah, blah. And they were just trying to lure me in to make the decision to join. And so, because it was a sponsored team and stuff, and I'd be able to do things, I just instantly decided, yeah, I'm going to join this team. And I think, based on the knowledge I had back then and everything, I think it was still the best decision to make at the time. So I told my team, Ramos, what do we buy, that I'm going to leave and join that team. And coincidentally, oh yeah, I haven't even mentioned backpedaling yet. You guys, some of you guys will know backpedaling once again. Not everyone will know everyone in this story, but some of you guys will know backpedaling. He's also got a YouTube channel. He's a good friend of mine, and I was playing with him in Ramos What Do We Buy as well, and we did pretty well together. But then I got this offer from Four Kings, from Caution, and Storg. Obviously, I haven't mentioned him enough yet. Storg and Caution offered me this, and they also needed a mid player. They needed an AD player. Well, Storg was playing AD at the time, but he wasn't as good AD like I was. He was like 1800 or something, and I was like 2200, and I had loads of AD games played, and he was willing to switch to support to play AD for me. So he switched to support. I played AD. They needed a mid as well. So it was all coincidental that they needed a mid and an AD. It was so perfect. So backpedaling joined as well, and Caution, the guy who played a bit of AD and a bunch of random things before that, decided to jungle. And now this was like the worst thing of the whole story, because he caused so many problems in the team for Four Kings, because he just didn't know how to fucking jungle at all. He messed things up constantly, caused problems and things like that, and he would just do stupid shit like playing Ezreal jungle. And like, I don't have to tell you why Ezreal jungle isn't good, do I? It's just a troll thing, obviously. Like, we don't even need to discuss this. And he played it in a tournament. Would you play Ezreal jungle in a tournament if you wanted to win it? And he was just like the most useless fucking in that game ever. And it pissed everyone off. And when you do stupid things like that in a team and troll and things like that, it causes a lot of tensions and it makes people angry. So we played in a bunch of online tournaments for a while, and we ended up, Jason, our manager for Four Kings, ended up saying, oh yeah, we want you to come to Kyoto Lounge, which is a gaming bar in Manchester. So we went there, and it was awesome. We played on a bunch of the PC cafes. We did this little Four Kings event thing, and I met a bunch of people there, and this was ages ago as well. Really long time ago. I can't remember exactly when everything was, but I'll just tell the story as things happen in my mind, but I won't really specifically attach specific dates to it. So we went to this Coyote Lounge bar, and obviously it was a bar. So after a while, we played some games against the people who were there, but they were just really bad. Like the UK players in the UK are just not good at League of Legends in general. Um, Generally, UK scene doesn't have any tournaments being run for UK players. Obviously, there was UK LOL I was running, but I just can't do it anymore. And no one really helps to grow the UK scene. So just generally, there's a lack of UK professional players and things like that, which the internet of the country has something to do with as well. Like I have 2 megabit download speed, which is 200 kbs, and 0.5 megabit upload speed, which is 50 kbs. So that's like on par with Africa. So that's kind of what internet the UK has. Don't ask me why it's like that. It's because they just didn't set it as a priority or whatever. So we went to the Coyote Lounge. We played against those guys for a bit, and at around like 1 a.m. or whatever, when we were trying to play team scrims, you had your hand on the desk, and the dubstep and the stuff they were playing and the music was so loud it was just shaking it. So we ended up having to leave, and yeah, it was a cool little thing. That was my like second little incident with them. But after that, it was I-44 passed. By the way, I-44 was the second League of Legends tournament that happened at iSeries, and that passed by in between this time. So I-45 was coming up, and now this is the big one. So somewhere during this before I-45, we ended up having problems with caution, and we ended up kicking him out. Right, and Plasma ended up leaving as well. So we found a new top laner. Plasma joined as well. It's so confusing because lots of different things happened and stuff. But anyway, I'll just say our roster before I-45. Our roster before I-45 was Baron Panda. Some of you guys might know him. He was playing mid, I believe. Yeah, and we had Yamato Cannon. Some of you guys will know Yamato Cannon. He's on Dragonborns or something like that now. I think he's done pretty well for himself so far after all this had happened. And Yamato Cannon. So he was playing top, and he was really good at that time. He was like our saving grace. He was like the fucking big dog. But he'd never been to LAN before, despite that. He was in Western Wolves at that time, and he was really, really good, and he was meant to carry us to victory. So we practiced, and a couple weeks even before we went to I-45, we played against Lowland Lions again in the Corsair Cup that some of you might remember. It was quite a large cup, online cup, and we played in the Corsair Cup, and we played against Lowland Lions, and we lost to them. So a couple of weeks before LAN, and we knew that Lowland Lions were going to that LAN because they'd went to I-43 and I-44, and they'd won them both. And they had Young Buck on their team. You know, you guys will know Young Buck. He played top lane, but a couple of weeks before iSeries, I-45, he got asked to join SK or something. What was it? SK, I think. Or he got asked to join some team, and he ended up taking it. I don't think it was SK actually, because that was more recent. So he got asked to join a team, and he ended up taking it. And then they needed to get a replacement for iSeries. So they weren't as strong as they would have been with Young Buck. I really think they would have had a better chance with Young Buck there because they also had Belgian Beast. Some of you will know him as well. He's a really good mid player. He was like 2,500 elo at the time or something like that, and he was really good and played a Beast Twisted Fate, which we just banned. So going into I-45, there was 3 teams. There's 3 teams that could win it. It was us, 4 Kings, Lowland Lions, which had Sneaky, Alibaba, Belgian Beast, and Tarzan. Some of you guys will know him. He's really high elo and not like plays jungle and stuff. And Lowland Lions. Those guys are Lowland Lions. And the third team was WinFact. Now, some of you guys will have heard of WinFact. You know this new Copenhagen Wolves team that has come recently. A lot of those guys were in. Some of those guys were in WinFact. Basically, WinFact consisted of Aki Lord, Akamez, which were in One Night Only, which was Snoop's team in I-43. Who else was in WinFact? The Tess, he was their jungler. He's now playing AD for Copenhagen Wolves, which seems really strange how you can go from jungler to AD. So the Tess was there as well, and WinFact Godbro, which was what it was called at the time. He's really sick top laner, really really good at top lane, and he basically won them the whole iSeries, in my opinion. Firemain, and that's it. Firemain, who was some Danish guy or something, he was a cool guy who played AD. And so prior to that event, we practiced a lot, and we all met up and went to it. It was quite fun, actually. We practiced a lot, but I think the first real match that we had difficulty against, like the UK teams and most of the teams at that tournament. The tournament was for like quite a bit of money as well. Like it was like £4,000, £5,000 or something like that. But the most of the teams that go there just kind of suck to the iSeries. So there was only 3 teams that had a possible chance of winning it. So everyone we just smashed until the quarterfinals. There was Sloth as well, which were decent, but we kind of just beat them pretty easily as well, to be honest, really. But most of the teams there weren't very good. And the semi-finals we got up to, and like it was so easy to beat those bad teams if you were any decent that WinFact played 4v5 because one of their members didn't even come. So they played 4v5 and managed to get out of the groups or whatever. So we got to the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and we played against Lowland Lions. And, you know, Lowland Lions had won the previous 2 tournaments and they'd beaten us at I-43 as well. And this was like a really big moment for me. And this was around the time when Urgot was OP. And I have to say, I don't usually like to say things like this, but I was fucking beast on Urgot then. I just owned people on Urgot. Some of you will have remembered that Urgot guide video I did where we were playing against CLGU and I went like 18-2 against CLGU or something on Urgot. I was really good at Urgot back when he was considered OP. It was just the ballsy way I would go in and flash ulti people and just good ultis and landing the harassing lane and things like that. I was really good at Urgot and I loved playing him. He's so fun for me still. So the first game against Lowland Lions, I believe I played Cogmore. We played Cogmore Nunu, me and Storg, and they had Urgot something. And somehow he just like, they messed up the golems on level 1 and they ended up being really low early in the lane and had really no mana. It's like he spammed his Q on Urgot to kill the golems and ended up having no mana for it. So basically he got into lane and Nunu had the Blood Bowl on me level 1 and I ended up doing some really nice harass onto Urgot and we ended up just dominating the lane from then on out. He couldn't shut me down or anything, and we ended up just winning that game from then. And the second game, I played Urgot, and we just smashed them. But to be honest, the way we beat Lowland Lions was pretty convincingly. Their AD carry, which was sneaky, he just didn't play very well the whole entire series. Pretty much, he didn't use his QSS when he could have, and things like that. It was just. He wasn't very good, and he kind of let his team down. So those guys ended up disbanding after we knocked them out of the tournament like a week later, and Belden Beast went on to do pretty well. I think he was and Tarzan did. They were the two best players on that team. So after that, we went into the final. So in the final, the first game I played Cogmore again. That was all I'd play. Basically, my plan for I-45. Was that I would play... If Urgot was banned, I would play Cogmore because I thought at that point Cogmore was really strong as well and I thought no one could shut me down on Cogmore apart from Urgot. So if Urgot was banned, I'd play Cogmore, and if Urgot wasn't banned, I'd play Urgot because I could shut down Cogmore if he was there. That was my sort of game plan for I-45 and I should have really stuck to it. So the first game I played Cogmore and this was on the stage, mind you, at I-45. This was on the stage, so it was up on the stage. There was all the lights. There was loads of people there, and there were these 3 guys. There was these 3 guys who kept cheering, four kings. It was epic. Anyway, so we went onto the stage and we started playing. And I have to say, I didn't think I was nervous before that because we played a show match on stage and I was fine. And I didn't think I was nervous or anything like that. But for the first minute and a half of the game, I really messed up because I was nervous and missed some CS and stuff. But Knucklehead, our jungler, who was actually like he was probably the weakest link on the team at the time, really pulled out and did some epic plays on Nocturne in mid and got a double kill with Baron Panda, who played he played Karthus, I believe, without even playing Karthus before, and he still managed to do really good, even though at that point Karthus was considered OP and like he was considered really, really, really difficult to play, which he probably isn't anymore. So he was playing Karthus, and we were all really worried, but he ended up doing really well. He just really turned his Swedish gaming mojo on and started owning as Karthus in that game. So Nocturne, our jungler, helped us at bottom a lot and really helped us back into the game. So that was a really difficult game for us to win as well. Saying this, actually, we lost to WinFact in the winners bracket earlier, so we went into the losers bracket and went to face them in the final after beating Lowdown Lions. That is. So we lost to them in the winners bracket, then we met them in the final. So that means we won our first game, and that basically means that we have to win 2 games to win. So we won our first game, but then sadly I picked Ash. I got Ash in the second game, and our top lane didn't do so well, and they ended up having a Nautilus top, and that was when Nautilus top first started getting played, and he was really strong, and he'd gotten some kills and stuff, and he ended up having a frozen heart, and I didn't quite get any kills, and I just couldn't do any damage to him, and we ended up just kind of losing the game. But we ended up getting second place, and we ended up getting some amount of money. It wasn't too much, though. We got it about a month later from Four Kings, which was great. But Four Kings did not pay some of the travel money, and the manager, Jason, would just kind of ignore us when we asked him about the travel money and stuff. So we ended up deciding to leave the Four Kings organisation. So that was Four Kings was like my first organisation type thing. So after that, some time passed again, and I got contacted by this guy called Nathan from the UK community, which some of you guys will know about the UK community. He was just like a guy in there who I knew and stuff, and he was a cool guy. And he was saying how his friend just bought this organisation and they need a League of Legends team, and they need a League of Legends team to join it. So I thought, okay, this sounds cool. If we need an organisation now. There's a new fresh org out and basically this guy called Richard. He was Richard Dring, and he owned the organisation, and he had a couple of his friends and stuff to help him manage it. So he owned the organisation, and currently at that point they had no sponsors, and he was actually lying about the sponsors that they had to us. He was saying that they had a sponsor from TT Esports, and now I know. I spoke to the European marketing manager of TT Esports and stuff, and he was saying to us how they actually don't have sponsorship from TT Esports, and he was lying about that. So that was the first lie that this guy told to me and to my team. But the reason why we sort of fell into his trap so well was because basically just the way he was sounded really convincing, and he sounded really positive that he wanted to do it, and he basically just conned us. It was like a con basically, and we had a separate guy who had no reason to lie to us, who wasn't even like really big friends with him, to try and get us into the org. So that was the first lie he told us about the sponsorships and stuff. And he said he would give us the same deal as Four Kings, the same deal as we had with Four Kings, and he would pay for accommodation, which he said would be close to the venue, and he also said he would take like 15% of the prize money, and he would pay for travel costs. So before the LAN, I really made sure that I got my travel costs, and I ended up getting my travel costs before that. But my team actually got nothing aside from that. I only got like 50 quid travel costs. And so we went to this LAN. To be honest, there were no good teams at that LAN. There was one semi-good team which had like high elo players on it, but they weren't a proper team. They were just like a mix specifically for that LAN, and their bot lane was like 1800 and stuff. So they weren't very difficult to beat, to be honest. And we got to the final against some other team called ATK, which were like 1600, 1800, and those guys weren't very good either. So we pretty much won the tournament pretty easily and convincingly for him. So we won that tournament, and it was a fairly decent amount of money. I was meant to receive like £220 or something like that, but then randomly Richard said he was going to take 25% of the money. So after that, he signed on all the documents and stuff to receive the money into his bank, and we went back home. So 2 weeks goes by, and we ask him where the money is, and then he sends us something saying that Multiplay is the organisation that runs iSeries, and he says something along the lines that it's going to take some time for it to come in, like at least 2 months or so. So we wait a little bit more, and then nothing. 2 months on, after the tournament, there was nothing. So we get to the point where it's just like, are you going to give us the money? And then I-47 rolls around, and he says, is about to roll around, and he says he's going to give us the money at I-47. And he ends up not even going to it. So, yeah, that just shows how much of how truthful he is. So, yeah, pretty much. So we got scammed by this guy, Richard Dring, and basically the VYE organisation. So if any of you guys ever see anything by VYE or Richard Dring or anything like that, just instantly tell everyone in that thread or whatever it is what they've done, because it kind of sucks to go to a LAN first, the first one, not do very well. Go to a LAN, a second one, became second. All I wanted to do is win the iSeries League of Legends tournament. That's all I wanted to do. Well, we did win it technically, but I didn't even get the money from it. So that's just like kicking the balls, really. We went to the second one, we came second. That was great. But then all I wanted to do was just win it and get the money for it. But yeah, anyway, it kind of sucks. So that's it, really. Pretty much, that's pretty much all of my esports story from then up till now. Oh, one thing I missed out is that Joe Miller and D-Man were at I-45, and I had a chat with those guys as well. And they were pretty cool guys. They casted our game at the final at I-45, so that was how quickly League of Legends boosted from like Joe Miller and D-Man casting a small UK tournament to just casting the biggest ones and stuff. They were casting IEMs and stuff around that time as well. It's just that they weren't considered the holy gods that they are now. And Panky was there. I met Panky there as well. He's a really cool guy as well. He did some casting for our games as well. I didn't really talk to Joe Miller and D-Man as much as I did Panky, but yeah. Regardless, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the story. We got scammed by that. Sad that it ends on a bad note, that we got scammed by this retarded guy, Richard Dring and stuff. But either way, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you found some sort of enjoyment or knowledge out of this story. And once again, if you like the content I make and you want to support me, support my channel, help me continuing to do it, and hopefully I'll be able to stream later on this year if I get enough donations. Donate below in the chip-in link. Thanks for watching.